Welcome to True House Stories. I'm Lenny Fontana coming out of New York City. And it's finally starting to break into a spring summer affair. As well, I'm starting to see festivals being announced, new hot songs are floating around with DJs. It's been a cold, cold winter, but now we're starting to get back into a more of a summer vibe. And I use these words, let it blow, let it blow, let it blow, baby. Let it blow, because this man's going to come on and tell his story. But before we even get to that, I want to tell you a little bit about him. Hails from Chicago. I know he loved Frankie and all that came before him. Frankie Knuckles, I know he watched a lot of the DJs and, Masters of Work and stuff and worked alongside. Career at iHeartRadio, Grammy nominated. Take that into consideration. Grammy nominated. That's a big thing. Okay. I remember him doing techie hard Jackin House music, but the last year and a half, I've been hearing a more Afro House, real smooth sound. He's got a great, credible record label called House for Life. I'd like to welcome from Chicago. My kind of town Chicago is. If I ever had to sing on a song, they would disemploy me in the music industry. But this man is coming on here right now. I'd like to welcome to the show, Mr. Stacy Kidd.
What it do? What it do? What it do?
What's up? The man of the hour.
Yes, sir.
I'm not going to even just say the man of the hour. I'm going to say the man of a time.
Man, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
You've been gnawing at this thing for a long, long while.
Right? Yeah. Yes, sir. Everything, man, it's been, man, since basically 80, 84. I'm like, I consider myself the second tier of the Chicago guys, I wasn't there at the warehouse, and I was a little bit too young for all that. But yeah, I call myself the second tier.
Okay, but that second tier was still a lot going on in the Chicago business. And let's just say house music, because it really wasn't house yet. 80, 84. It wasn't until a little bit later. But
yeah,
at that time, it was still a disco, funk, rap band. All those great bands coming out. D-Train, Gap Band, Rick James, all those wonderful groups and sounds. This is pre-Mary J. Blige, people. This is where it actually all comes from. This is, the story of basically the story of all of us, on the path to what dance music rolled into house music, and house music going into a world thing. But at that time, it was incubated to cities, and you didn't leave your city. Right? I mean, back then, you didn't leave. There was no reason to leave. You had everything. Right. But thanks for coming on and Green. I know you've been all over the globe, trotting away and doing your thing.
And trying to keep it busy.
So I'm going to get right into it. Oh, yeah, baby. You looking good. Looking good. All right. Here we go. So I always ask the same question because it's so fitting. And no one paints a picture better than the person that lived it. So how does music find you as a young kid? Take us on that journey.
I start off with my pops. My dad, he was an aspiring singer, and he had a group. And they used to always be on the front porch singing like the old school Dells and all the Temptation type songs. So that's what got me started into liking and listening to more music. And then after that, I just started educating myself on just all the records that he had. Started going through the little 45s and listening to the stuff that he be listening to. He always was listening to like Quincy Jones and the Temptations, the Dells, the Stylistics, just a little bit of everything, from back then. Yeah, it just caught my attention, man. And I started listening to the grooves. And then next you know, man, started listening to a lot of the radio stations in Chicago. You had BMX, and you had, Farley, Steve Hurley, all of them was on the stations playing music. And that basically turned me into the house music scene. So I give most of my credit to basically, saying my dad in a sense. And then once I found Quincy Jones and Stevie Wonder, it was a done deal for me when it came down to making music.
Did you go to those Catholic school dances like Ralphie and Ron Carroll, may he rest in peace, spoke about the house music wars at the Catholic schools?
No, I wasn't in none of those, man. I wasn't in none of. I moved from Chicago out to the south suburbs. So what we used to do here, we used to do a lot of sock hops and skating rinks. We used to have like little clubs at the skate rink every Friday and Saturday. Well, basically Saturday. Friday was the skate night. And then I end up started DJing at a couple of these skate rinks and doing a lot of neighborhood sock hops and basement parties. So, yeah.
So in the actual mixing world, in the beginning, because everybody's like either picking up a radio, because in those days it was pretty simple. There was no computers, there was no cell phones, there was none of these smart things called smartphones.
Right.
What were you doing to get the craft right? Like, who were you looking up to? Who were you listening to?
Yeah, I was just mainly listening to the radio station. It wasn't one particular person that caught my eye. It was basically just listening to the radio station and listening to the blends. And then I used to have a double dual cassette player that you carry around. And back then, those cassette players, they played at the same time. So what I would do, I would record some mixes off the radio, and I'd try to blend them with my two tape decks. I play one, then I play another one. Of course, the tempo was never the same. It'll beat match for a good 2 to 3 seconds, but then it'll go off. But that's how I used to try to do it. And I'd stop and pause it and try to do it again. And that's how I got into it. So, yeah, it was fun, man. It was fun back in the days.
So on the journey at that early part, were you thinking about radio mixing? Were you thinking about making records? Were you thinking about any of that? Was that something that was possibly in your mind?
No, I wasn't even thinking about production then. I was just coming onto the DJ scene. So I basically wanted to be a DJ at that moment. Next thing you know, I started just recording these mixes and trying to mix with these this crazy non-pitch tape deck. And then my mom eventually got me one I think it was a 3600 Technique or 5600, one of them. But it was real heavy disc, about this big. And it was real hard to try to blend, but it had a pitch control. So I had one pitch control, and that was it. So I learned from that one turntable and my radio box to how to blend.
So you were going back and forth from the tape deck. If I remember correctly, it's probably a 1600 with the thick plate.
Right. Hey, that's 1600. You're right. 1600. That's what it was.
I remember that. Yeah, ugly looking thing though.
Yeah.
Where the stroke were, they was like rectangles.
Right.
They weren't
it
like
was crazy, man.
Like right? They were like the plate was that big.
Real thick, and you couldn't really, like the normal turntable. You couldn't really. You had to put a nice couple of slip mats under it so you can get a feel of moving, because you couldn't move the big plate. The plate wasn't going nowhere. So I used to have to cut plastic and put up under the record so I get a chance to have a slip. You know what I'm saying? A little smooth mixing.
So it had that Fisher Price feeling.
Right.
But you know what? That's how you get the proper technique right. Because if you could play on stuff that's not easy to play.
Right.
Of course, when you got to a 1200 was a whole different level, right?
Yeah, man. 1200. Once I got to 1200, it was easy. It was real easy. Well, once I actually got another turntable, it was easy because I was killing with that little tape deck and that turntable. After I learned it, it was easy. But once I got another turntable, it was game over after that.
Now around that time, there was also a battle going on. I mean, dance music was starting to, of course, it was always there. But then you had around 84-ish, 86, the birth of like real hip hop with Run DMC.
Right.
Was that part of your day-to-day, or is it just you just said, nah, that's not my thing?
No, yeah. Because here back in the day, being a DJ, when we DJ clubs here, we played everything. So we played the reggae, we played hip hop, we played slow dance music. We played a little bit of everything at the club. So it's like I've had to have a little bit of electric for everything. I had to play a little bit of everything from hip hop to the disco records to there wasn't too much reggae back then, but once I started doing a radio station and the skating rink, that's when the reggae stuff started coming out. But yeah, it was Yeah, it was crazy, man, back then. And to be honest, man, I miss those days, man. I miss those days. You get a chance to play a little bit of everything, and but here in Chicago, man, it got crazy over a certain amount of times after people getting to fighting at the clubs and all kind of crazy stuff. So I just stepped away from a lot of that hip hop and all that other stuff.
That's everywhere, brother.
Yeah,
That's
right,
everywhere. New York had it too, baby. New York had heavy gunshots.
right. It's like, man,
And
can we just have a good time, man? Like, wow, what? Yeah,
yo, the South Bronx was notorious. You were lucky. Look, if you went to that Fever Disco Club in the South Bronx, where they talk about first where most of the hip hop really took off, if you got in there at night and you left at night, you may not get home that night.
right.
Because in the neighborhood knew the neighborhood people, but you came from outside, you ain't going home tonight,
Right,
baby.
man. Yes, sir.
Stay right
Yes,
there.
sir.
Stay right there. So what's okay? So on this journey, you look at your dad. Do you have any musical training? And what was your breakout moment where you out of the skating rink and now Stacy's known in Chicago before he starts traveling?
Well, I learned. I taught myself how to play keys, mainly the chords. I can't play really freehand, a little bit, but not too fluently. But I learned how to play the keys, and once you learn how to play the keys, you try to play with the guitar. You try to play a little bit of everything. But I learned how to play that, and that was basically it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times I come up with an idea with the chords and this and that, but I couldn't finish it. So I try to get some people I know, my buddies, to come and help me with it and do different things. And then I end up connecting with Paul Johnson, may he rest in peace. And he was the same way, but he was much better at it. So he learned how to play the same way I learned how to play. But he, for some reason, man, he can pinpoint everything and hit it right on the key. And it took me a while to do it. So that's how I learned how to get my keyboard skills in. To this day I got a little bit better, but it's like, man, it was crazy back then trying to figure out how to link certain chords and do different things, and really didn't have an ear. But I just was like, it sounded good to me. You know what I'm saying, back then. So that's how I started doing that, and then that's when I started getting more into production. Once I started getting that, and back in '89, my first record, track that I produced on, I had Elisa's, the little gray one. I forgot the name of that damn. I know it was Elisa's though. I forgot the
Let
name.
me help you with that. I think it's called SR16.
Yeah, I think it is SR16. Yeah, the little gray one.
Let me cut back out.
Yeah, but yeah, I started that. The little Dr. Rhythm Machine, little box, the Mr. Boss ones. So I started just messing around with different productions then. That's when '89 is when I started getting more into production outside of the DJ stuff, because I started listening to the radio. I want to make some of that stuff. And then Paul, he was on WKKC, and every Sunday they'd play like tracks from different producers. And I started just listening to people. Then that got me more into doing more production. Then listening to Quincy Jones and Stevie Wonder, All I Do, that really made me want to. I was late on that record. It's funny, I hadn't heard it many times, but I actually listened to it, and it kind of opened up my eyes. Like, you know what? I'm going to start making me some music. So I went and started getting me some little equipment. That's how it started for me.
I try to explain that to people that weren't buy equipment. You had to spend some decent
Right,
money back then
right,
and make a commitment to the art
right,
of making production and a record, right? Nowadays, you could do it in one little laptop, but
right,
back then,
right. Yeah, it was crazy, man. It was crazy.
explain that to people what that was like. Coming up with that money, and because these pieces were not cheap either.
And it took me a nice little minute, but I had to trade in a lot of different stuff, man. I was like one of them, what you call them barters that go around like, hey, I got this, man. You want to trade this for that? Had these bikes and had this. So I had to just individually just try to sell everything I can sell to try to get it. My mom helped me a little bit, but back then we didn't have too much money as it was, so it's like I was struggling. She put all she could to get me that turntable set. So I definitely didn't want to ask her for no production equipment. So I was like, you know what? Let me try to hustle and sell my.
Could you imagine going, Ma, I need an MPC 60. How that conversation would have went?
You know what's funny? I didn't know nothing about MPC until I met Paul. Because I was using, again, the leases. I was using the SR1. I was using a lot of other different stuff. So I didn't know nothing about the MPC until I met him. And he had an MPC 3000. And he showed me how to work with it, and he taught me how to use it. I didn't know nothing about anything about the MPC. But once I started using that, man, I still got MPCs now. I got the new one, the XL sitting right here. I got the 61 over here. So I still use them. You know what I'm saying? So there's no way I'm gonna let go my MPs, man.
I hear that. I hear that. Tell us about, for those that don't understand or know Paul, what that was like, that relationship of knowing him and what he was doing at that time as you were coming up. Because we all remember the Get Down. Like the rest of the world knows Get Down.
Right.
But there's a Paul Johnson before Get
Down.
Right.
Well, I met me and Paul, we knew a mutual friend, a mutual DJ, but we never knew each other personally. So my mutual DJ ended up having a house party. And then that's the first time I met Paul. We both posed a DJ at this party. And once we got there, I started talking to him about his tracks that he was making. And at this time, I was sending music in, going to KKC, dropping off music, being on a Sunday thing too at this time. So I was playing tracks that Paul made and tracks that I made, and he didn't know I made. But he had them in his set on his tape deck. Back then they had the pitch control, the graphic, what's the fucking brand it was. But it was the pitch control tape deck. And that's how we used to mix at the club. It wasn't no damn turntable. We just using basically all pitch control tape decks. So we just bringing big bag of tapes. And yeah, we ended up sitting in the car. We didn't even DJ that night. We ended up sitting in my car for like about 3 hours just listening to each other's music. And then that day on, and for like the next 8 years, we were together every day, every single day. And he was just showing me how to do different things and hooked me up with Dance Mania Records out of Chicago, one of the classic labels. Just showing me a lot of different things, man. A lot of people don't know. He influenced so many Chicago people in the early days because he was the main guy that had all the equipment. Other people had equipment like, Mike Dunn and all them guys. They had their own little stuff, but like the smaller guys, like the second tier dudes, like me, Gant Gerard, just a lot of different people, man. We just learned from him. So man, Paul was so talented, man.
So Paul had that family vibe there, right? Where
yeah, man.
Because you always hear about this thing in Chicago about like the competitive side is so fierce.
But you still have that, but he was one of them guys that helped everybody. He always helped everybody. Everybody that started off in Chicago knew Paul, and Paul helped them with certain things before they got to themselves and got to their own equipment or got to their own brand and started doing things. Paul was in the midst of everybody. Armando, Mike Dunn, just a lot of different people. That's how I met Mike, and I met a lot of these guys through Paul. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know none of them until I met Paul. Yeah, man, he influenced so many people, man. And I think I'm the only disciple from him that branched out and just doing world stuff outside of, just been under his wing. So I've been under his wing I was under his wing for a good 8 years. So yeah.
So were you around him when that accident happened and all that?
No, right before that. Right after that, I met him maybe about 3 years after that. And one of his friends accidentally shot him in the back. He was unloading a gun in the house, and the gun went off and hit him in his back, his neck to a neighbor.
Yeah, that was something I heard. I was like, talk about something that they say accident.
Right. I mean, crazy.
So I understand now. So you got like your tutelage on the Paul, and then you take it. Of course, we all have these people around us that influence us. So you're doing your mixes on the radio show. He's got his radio show.
I didn't have mixes. What they did on the station, they played individual tracks that you made. So it wasn't really full mixes. It was just a track. Like if I make a track and I take it up to the station and they'll play it, they basically will introduce new artists and play hot tracks on this station.
Don't we wish it was like that now?
Right. Exactly.
Now you work with iHeart, so you can explain this. Try getting a record into the iHeart system with explain that, because people don't understand.
I mean, everything is, everybody know. Everything is how can I put it? Everything is like basically is it's all business. So basically, a lot of these rotations, a lot of these companies, take care of it a different way. They do each other favors, and sometimes, and some people pay for advertising, some people pay for this. So it's like everything that you hear on the radio, man. It's not because it's hot. It's because the company, saying want it to be played. And then it
Exactly.
get hot. Then it get hot. It wasn't stop
Wait,
playing and playing and playing.
you go to a friend that's a PD at one of the stations in the country, and they tell you, unless it's in the corporate computer, I can't
Right,
play it, right?
right. That's why you hear the same songs almost 100 times a day. Like that's because they got a rotate. They have it in a rotation. It's crazy, man.
Important was that for you when that did happen, that you got the iHeartRadio job, as far as in the mixing and house music and all this into your career?
Well, it started off first with Clear Channel. Then it went to iHeart, and then it's like I started off basically being a producer on a couple of shows. A station out here in Chicago called GCI, WGCI, and it was just learning how to help people and doing their shows. Just basically just watching at the first, and then eventually I started learning how to go into commercial. But now they got all the machines that do everything now. But back then, everything was manual. You know what I'm saying? You can't no airtime. You can't do nothing. You got to make sure everything is pressed, everything is right, and then it just came down. It was kind of loose back then too, because most Saturdays they would have these programs that kind of like the same thing with the college station WKKC. They would have artists from Chicago bring up their music and play it, and they allowed them to play it. And that only happened. I think that lasted for a good 2 to 3 years, and then after that, that was gone. And then we started having the Saturday and Friday night showdowns with house music. That's the only time they played it. We used to have like Rick Party. He used to have a session called the what was it called? Rick Party lunch break. I think it was the lunch break mix, something like that. But you get a quick little mix during the weekend. I mean, during the week from his show, and it was only lasted maybe about a good 15 minutes. Not even that long, I think. I think about maybe 5 to 10 minutes, I think. But yeah, back then, man, Clear Channel and iHeart was just an outlet for all of us to just do things and get to meet and know people. That's how I ended up connecting with Warner and a lot of different people, because I was in there with everybody. So I met a bit of everybody. So yeah, it was good, man. It was great.
So what's the record that changes it all for you? The first one.
Stevie Wonder, All I Do. Yeah, that record, that did it for me, man. That's my all-time favorite. And that's just funny because that's how I actually got on the radio. I was doing, they call bumpers, like commercials for Mike Love and the Diz, some guys that's up there. And then I started getting popular by doing their shows, start doing other people's shows. And then I just did a exclusive All I Do mix, just live. Like me and Paul redid the whole record, and it was instrumental, and it got on the radio, and I gotta find that too. I ended up getting a letter from the company about the record, and they liked it. They heard it and liked it. They supposed to have been licensing it for something, but they never did. But that's what got me started, and then the radio.
Well, that was the next question I was going to ask you, because Stevie Wonder is really funny about those
Right,
clearances.
right.
He gave you guys the blessing, even though how many other records we've heard that they sampled,
Right,
and you always hear with Steve, don't,
right.
he's gonna
But
screw it
yeah,
up.
but it was great, man. It was really dope. Kind of opened up my ass to a lot of different things, and yeah.
So tell everybody, what year would that be?
Damn, what year was that? That was because I worked for the station from, I think it was 91 to 91 to 2000, and I think it was 2005. I think it was. I think it was 2005. Once they started going, syndicated, they started cutting a lot of shit. And then I still was there when a lot of people left, because I was still doing commercials. Yeah, man, it just started cutting everybody's show. Steve Harvey started coming in, doing the middle show. I mean, the morning shows, and yeah, everything just got syndicated, man. It just started going crazy. And then iHeart, Clear Channel went to iHeart, and then they started doing a lot of other stuff. It was crazy, man. It was just crazy. Yeah, it was crazy.
So what do you do when that happens? As you used to. Okay, so let's be real. You used to get in a corporate check. You
Right,
get used to that after a while, right? You
right.
get used to that. It's nice. We all love doing what we do, but you get used to that money coming in. So when you start seeing the writing on the wall, what's your thinking process? Where are you going to take yourself?
Well, at the same time, I was traveling. I was doing my own stuff too. At the same time, within that time that it started messing, pushing on, I was traveling the world already. So I was in the midst of doing both at the same. So I started traveling out there because I started working with a label called Riviera, and my guy Fabrice, and we just started doing so many tours, man. That funny thing is, I end up getting picked up from the airport. Me and Paul one time going out there, and Paul was going way before I was. And then start meeting these guys, these three dudes that start taking us to their studio. And Paul was helping them do different things and showing them this and this and that and that. And they end up being Daft Punk. They two guys that used to come pick us up from the airport all the time.
So Thomas Bangwell.
Thomas and Guy and they manager Pedro. Fabrice is he owned Riviera. He was the label owner. So he was the label owner. And for somehow I guess Paul was already cool with Thomas and Guy and prior to me going out there. But they was come picking us up from the airport. But we used to always go to their studio, man. They had Liberty Studio, not too much equipment at all. And Paul was just helping them, man. And come to find out, they became for Daft Punk.
I love stories like this because this is the type of stuff that you go a Forrest Gump moments. Like all of a sudden,
Right.
wait a minute, the people that did around the world,
Right.
in the studio showing them some stuff.
Right. And they was picking us up. They was our chauffeurs. They was driving us around, showing us stuff, taking us everywhere.
Oh, they were doing more than chauffeuring.
Right.
They were sucking in. They were doing
Right. They was getting a lot of information, man. And I man, to this day, man, them guys are so dope, man. So it's like, yeah, man. You get to meet people that you wouldn't even know that become and an influence that we get in Chicago that we put out. You wouldn't know what influenced so many different people, man, and let them go on to be who they are today. So,
were you around Paul? Not that I want to bring Paul because I know you were a lot of years with Paul, but I'm going to bring this story up. This is a story I heard.
okay,
It's a funny story. The Bohannon meeting that Bohannon went to the record label wanting his royalties on the Me and My Gang, and he bought a shotgun there. Some crazy.
no, man, no. See, I'm gonna tell you another story.
Okay, tell
That
the
a lot of
story.
people don't know. Shout out to Paul for this. The Bohannon record I brought to the studio. I actually did the Get Down record, but it wasn't Get Down. I did another song called Jamming that came out in '98 on Riviera Records. I brought the record over there to Paul, chopped it up. We did everything. If you go listen to the record Jamming, you hear the same bass line. Boom, 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 boom. I'm jamming. You hear the same bass line. So I put it in a machine. This is when I was working at Paul's because I didn't know nothing about MP at the time. He was helping me with the MP, and I was using his studio. So once I finished what I was doing, I left all the samples in the machine. 3:00 that morning, Paul calls me. Man, listen to this. And it was Get Down. So he basically took the samples I left in there and made Get Down. And I was like, wow. But his record was totally different from what I did. The same bass line, kind of similar bass line, but he put his voice on it. He put a whole different twist on it. And I was like, wow, that's dope. And then, this is the killer right here. After that, we shopped it. Riviera didn't want it. The same label we've been working with. Mine was on Riviera, but Riviera didn't like the song. Then we shopped it to like 3 other companies, and they didn't like the song at all. So what he did was put it on his album. He did an album with Moody Records and just added it on the album because people didn't want the record. And look what it did.
You know what? I always say this. The ones that you least expect are the sleepers that come out of nowhere and they go,
Right. And it's like, man.
Fourth cut, like,
right.
Like that, right?
Yeah. I was like, wow, man, this record is dope. I liked it. And Paul liked it. Everybody liked it. But it's like, yeah. But I'm saying prior to it coming out, like, before it got licensed, before he put it on his album, It's like nobody wanted it. And it was a surprise, man. I was like, what? Y'all took my track, but y'all wouldn't take his track. Like, to me, his track was better than my track. Maybe that's it. I don't know. I don't even know. To be honest, I have no clue. Maybe it may. You know what? That might be it though. That might be it because I never thought about that. And I wouldn't say that was the first time he put his voice on something because he put his voice on other stuff before. But
It
yeah,
doesn't mean with that particular record they would go, nah, that's not for me. Or maybe they felt they had the better record already, that they didn't want to take another record with the same samples again.
no, I don't think that was it. That couldn't have been it because you can just hit basically what he took and what I use. All you can hear is the difference is the bass line. You can hear the same kind of progression you can hear, but it's like the words, the keys on top, everything was different, totally different. So I don't think it was that either. I don't know what it is. Fabrice was kind of picky back then too, because I remember I sent him a lot of records, and I kept having to send him other records. Maybe he was just picky, he just didn't like it.
Well, again, nowadays you look back and you go, you laugh because back then you were probably aggravated. You're like, what the hell does this guy want?
But you
Right?
know what? You know what's funny though? It's like, and Paul, he was an advocate of trying to stay and connect with one label. After that happened, I started shopping other labels. So I started like messing with doing Ministry of Sound. They had a label back then, and I signed a couple of things with them. Just other different labels. You know what I'm saying? And then Tony Humphries, Yellow Orange, Louis and them labels. I started just shopping stuff to everybody, man. And just like he ain't like that. He's like, man, you should just stick and build it. I'm like, but if I do that, I have to wait a couple of months, maybe a year, because they got other records scheduled. And after I put one record out, back then you put a record out, you got to wait to 6-8 months to put out another record. Because especially with this label that everybody is putting music out because they already had their own schedule going. So I was like, man, I don't want to wait another 6 months. My last record I did was in 95, and my next one after that was 98. So I said, no.
Yeah, imagine that kind of release schedule now. Would never exist.
Yeah, right. Now it's much. I can put out something constantly now. So it's like in the same day if I want. But it's like, yeah, back then, man, it was crazy. So it's like that
So
kind of opened up.
okay, let's be clear. Paul had this system of bricklaying with one label, like foundation
Right.
brick.
And it was trying to just build a reputation, the brand. I guess that's how he wanted to see it. That's all he used to tell me all the time, man. If you stick with this label, man, they'll push you, they'll do this and this and that. I'm like, cool. And I was doing that for a while, but when they start being picky with the music, and as an artist or producer, man, there's certain things that you want to put out, you feel is nice, but they might not like it. Kind of like Get Down. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, now what I do? I can't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? Now I gotta sit back and put that to the side and make more records, and put that to the side, make more records, put that to the side. And I still do that to this day, but I got my own choice now. I can put it out. I always come up with an idea, I make a record and I put it to the side. But it's like that kind of gave me the idea back then because I was getting denied so many times for tracks that eventually went number one and did other things. DJ Magazine hit the top charts, the hot charts, everything. But these same guys didn't want the record. So it's like,
No, I know. So then you saw it as I got to make a move. If it works for Paul, it may not work for you.
right. And it worked for me. It worked because I started having more connections with all these other labels. And at the same time, having this connection with Louis and them. I ended up doing a party with Louis and them in Miami at the music conference in 2001. Yellow Orange, same thing. Basement Boys, same thing. I was considered family. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm getting a more fan base now. You know what I'm saying? With all these other labels, because each label got their own little fan base. So it just opened up more and more and more. So I just say, you know what? I'm going to start doing this everywhere. So I started working with so many other labels, man. I think, one thing about me back then, I was doing a lot more jacking, like tech house type stuff, techno, some soulful stuff here and there, jacking stuff. I was doing a little bit of everything. So it's like I can go to any label, kind of I do now, and I can release anything on any label because consider me back then a man of many sounds. I still use that to this day, but yeah, that's what opened up the doors for me, man. And then I was able to travel to a lot of these places, you know what I'm saying? South Africa back in the day, or Australia and Japan and all this other stuff, all because I worked with a lot of different labels that was connected with these cities. You know what I'm saying? So it helped for me.
Yeah, it was a means to the beginning. So you got
Right.
into there with their label, you got into their region, and it was like, all right, let's try to put some tour dates.
Right, right, right.
So you didn't get caught up like everybody else did in Chicago with signing your stuff away.
No, no.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you heard
Yeah,
the story
yeah,
tracks.
yeah, yeah. I heard all the story. I didn't even mess with them. I heard the story from Paul. I was like, nah, I ain't dealing with them. They hit me up. They tried to get me to do some stuff. Even when they rebranded and tried to re-release music, I'm like, I'm good.
Could you imagine that too? Like, yo, Stacy, we really love what you're doing, brother. Can you? But here's the thing: you gotta sign it all over.
Right, right. And that's one thing about me, especially working through Clear Channel and working through all these major companies. I understood the contract. I understood the business side of it. So you wasn't about to get me.
Right, because you had the education, Clear Channel University already.
Right,
Because
right, right. You
you've been
ain't about to
dealing with
get
that
me,
already
Joe.
for a while. Yeah, of course. See, because I want people to understand that you just not the man of the moment now. There goes a
Right,
long decades back
right.
history with
4 decades.
this.
I've been in this stuff 4 decades now.
Make that clear.
Right.
For
Through
decades.
everything. Through everything.
You've seen the change of climate. You've
Right.
seen the change from house music going to EDM, and where it
Right.
always had to sit on the sidelines waiting for it to kind of find its way back, right?
No, what I did was I joined. One thing about me is, like I said, I don't sit back. I can do anything, and I love it all. So it's like you got some people that's just focused on one style of music that they focus on, and that kind of handicapped them because once that slows down, or it don't, it's EDM taking over, or tech house taking over, or whatever techno, then all the big clubs now focusing on that. And if you're not doing it now you got to find something else to do, or do a lot of these smaller clubs and this and this and that and that. And that's cool, but it's like I can do everything. So it's like I can adapt to that. I can do this, I do that. Like I'm doing an EDM festival with Carl Cox and on May 2nd in Scotland. You know what I'm saying? It's all tech house, all EDM, all you know what I'm saying? So it's like you just try to be able to do a little bit of everything. And that's how I always been my whole career. That's why I can adapt and do different things. That's why right now I'm on 7 different top 10 charts right now, all different genres, because I do a little bit of everything. You know what I'm saying?
And you found that niche. Not everybody can do that.
Right, right, right. Well, I always been that way, but growing up, in Chicago, every side of the city got a certain style of music they like. Every side of the city. This side is up north is disco. You go out west is the juke music. It's up tempo juke house, ghetto house, whatever you call it. South side, you got the old school house, like from BMX and Jack Your Bodies and all that. Then you got the Afro stuff now that came in. That's a little bit everywhere. South side, like we got so many different styles of music that we can adapt to, and we've been doing for forever. You know what I'm saying? But now they putting all these subgenres on it, so now you get a chance to know it's this or it's that. We've been doing that forever, but we just never put a subtitle to it. So we don't know if it was Afro House or if it was deep or if it was. We just make music. You know what I'm saying? We
I
never
hear you.
know.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Here's something that, I want to ask you your mantra on releasing the amount of material you are right now with this label. Because there's also questions like, hey, is it too much now? Because like you get into another record and it's like a flash, you're onto another record. You know what I'm saying? Is it
I don't.
what
I
do
never
you
see it
think?
like that. Like I said, being in the game and working with these majors, you see it as how you see it. So my whole thing was marketing. So basically, prior to Let It Blow blowing up, I was releasing some music every other week, every this and this and that. But once that blew up, I understood marketing. So basically, I wanted to come back quickly with more music and more music. And the beauty of it now is, as a DJ and a producer, when we go and buy music, we don't just go and buy one record. We buy what's hot. So we have a cart full of music. So it's like if you got a cart all Stacy Kid, that's dope. But it's like I don't never see that as too much for me because I'm doing different stuff at the same time. Like now, if you go on my label, you will see some tech house stuff, you see some Jackin stuff, you see some disco stuff, you see some Latin stuff, you see some soulful stuff, you see some Afro stuff. So I got a little bit of everything that I put out. So I might put out an album with Jackin, soulful, Afro House, deep, whatever, all on one album, and it's hitting all different genres, all different fan bases at the same time. And that's how a lot of times I do a lot of my music. They don't, a lot of it don't be on the same chart, but sometimes tracks was there change it. Like I think it's a jazz track or Afro track, and they put in soulful. You know, it's like the way I made it for the Afro people, but they're thinking soulful stuff, and they put it there. But in this age of music, man, I don't think it's too much. I think it's perfect because we never go out and buy one record when we go shopping. We always buy multiple records. I always buy what's hot. If I hear some stuff that's dope, I'm gonna buy it.
Right.
And if you got a record that's still playing from 6 months ago, it's hot, you're still gonna play that too. So it's like you can't get used to it or can't get bored with it because you're gonna constantly want new music and it's gonna still come at the same time. But now if you got a whole Stacy Kid set, that's even dope for me. I appreciate that because the amount of music I'm putting up.
Yeah, we're seeing that. Seeing that.
but
And
but
listen,
but you if
I'm
you
not talking from what you hear in the game. It's not my personal opinion is you have to be out there.
right
You have to be present.
right
Because if you rest on the laurel, I'll do one record like you was years ago. By the time you get to the next record, people forgot. I know
right,
that.
and some of them only last 2-3 weeks, a month, and it's gone. And I've been this way since the beginning. Like I was telling you earlier, when we go in the studio, we make a record. If they don't like it, we put it to the side and make another one. I've been that way for 4 decades. So right now, if I go on my hard drive, I can put out at least right now, at least about 22 albums if I want to. Because I got that much music. You know what I'm saying? And now with the technology, I can re-enhance a lot of shit. I can add different things that I wanted to add that I couldn't add. I can do a lot more things now. So it's like it makes it even better.
Well, can you share with us your workflow now, opposed to the old days? How what your studio life is like comparing to what it was back then?
Well, it's the
On how
same. The only difference is now it's the technology. You know what I'm saying? Now you have, back then you had the MPC, which only had certain sample time, that you can put certain things in. But now you can MIDI a lot of different stuff. Back then you still could MIDI things, but now with the new machines that they have now, you can MIDI a lot of different things together and also to your computer. Even though I never use software, I never use a day in my life. I always use hardware. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't even understand that. Like I never went into Fruity Loops or Logic or any of that. I never, but a lot of people use it. It's like I just don't. I'm sorry. Paul got me spoiled to the MPC, so every time a new one come out, I buy that. So and they got so much things on there now. You can go into stems. You can do. They got AI stuff in there. You want to put in there. You got all type of stuff in these new machines now, man. It's crazy.
So you're working inside the box, the physical system of an MPC, mixing and everything in that box.
Right, right. Sometimes, but now, like if I have an idea now with the technology, like with some of my vocals now, a lot of my vocals and stuff that I do now, I just put into the machine. Like if I want to create a hook right now, I put a hook in with my voice, and I can add it to Open Beat AI, or I can add it to Suno, I can add it to Producer. It's a lot of different softwares. I can add it to that, and I can change my vocal into a female, to a dog, to a baby, to a guy. I can do anything I want with it. And the great thing about it, I write everything. I don't never have like AI none of prompt any fucking thing. I don't do that. I write all my stuff. I always been a writer. So I write a lot of different things unless I'm doing a remake, and I might keep some of the remake of the part of songs, and I might change some of the other stuff. But yeah, I write majority everything that I do. So it's like I put my voice in there, or I have my wife, and I got a couple of secrets I figured out, but I don't be telling nobody about. But it's like I have my wife also do different things, and to get different textures of the voices. You know what I'm saying? Because even though it's AI, every voice is always different. Depends on what you put in there. You know, a lot of people that don't understand how AI works, they think you just put in a prompt and it just makes something for you, even though it does that. But I want things to be personal to what I'm doing, my mindset of
Wait,
what I'm producing.
wait. Hang on, brother. Let's talk about that. What they think comes out to how you get it to what you want it to be. So you're using your wife's voice to sing a part, let's say,
Well, either one. I can use my wife. I use
and
my niece.
morphing it.
Yeah, I use my niece. I use my wife. I use me. So it just depends on what I'm doing and how I want it to come out. But each time I use a different voice, it gives it a different texture. It changes everything. So, and now with now they got updates now. Now I can use my own voice and do a song without using the AI voice. I can use my own stuff, and you can change and do so much. Technology is crazy now, bro. I wish they had this back in the day, man. Straight up, I wish
Well,
they
let's
had this back in the day.
start with camera phones back in the 90s.
Right,
Imagine all this social media. We've all be
man, Joe, man.
billionaires. Billionaires from this.
Yeah, especially when our music was what it was back then. Man, it would have been crazy, much crazy.
When it all happened in the mid 2000s, a lot of us were like watching these young whippersnappers have millions of followers.
Right,
All the ones that did all the brick work were all sitting around going, how's this possible? You have 1 million followers and I can't even be seen. Remember that? That was a lot of the guys.
right. But you know why? Because the music changed, and unfortunately, the old snappers didn't. They stayed the same, so they didn't adapt. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to sit in your kind of like how Prince was. Prince didn't change for nobody. He stayed what he wanted to do, and that's it. And that's cool. It worked for him. It worked for certain people. But in our game, it's like if you stay that, you're just gonna have that fan base that you grew up with. Basically, you're not gonna. You might grab a few new guys a few new fan bases that might like it, but majority of the new fan base now, they more into the up tempo stuff. They more into the Jackin and the tech house, the EDM type stuff, and those are the ones that pays the money and come and sit out to you all night. You got now our crew that we grew up with. They don't want to stay out late over 10 o'clock no more. Like majority of the time, they ready to go to sleep.
They want to do daytime parties. They don't want
Right,
to do
right. So it's like now, if you don't open this fan base up and adapt to that too, you don't have to change nothing you're doing, but just add this to your repertoire. It'll open up a lot more doors, and that's what I've been doing. Now, I do house festivals, I do tech festivals, I do a little bit of everything, and it's like I don't lose a beat because I love it all. I'm not saying, oh, I don't like this.
You're a music. Listen, you're a music aficionado. You love music, so you're
Right,
gonna, as
right,
long as it's in the dance genre,
right,
you can throw Afro, EDM,
right.
techno, whatever it needs to be. Here's something I want to bring up to you. There's a big thing Diplo mentioned, and I understand his position, and he's somewhat right. And he says it like this. He says, if you're a producer now, DJ producer, and you don't embrace this AI with the possibilities of getting the vocals, you will be driving an Uber. I know you saw that. Where's your position on that right now?
That's why I use it. That's the number one reason why I use it because
No, you have to explain why. You have to explain. Is it because of the ease, or is it because it is what it is now?
no, you know what? The reason I use it because to be honest, let me tell you, I've been trying to work with so many vocalists, man, my whole career. You have some vocalists that I work with, Don Tallman, great friend of mine. I work with her, but it's a lot of other vocalists that I've been trying to work with for years. I ain't gonna say no names, but it's a lot of them that I've been trying to work, and they keep saying, okay, but it never happened. I send them music, and it never happens. I've been waiting now for 5 years for some of them, 2 years for others. I sent the music, and they just so now when I'm able to access and do and like I said, I write. So if I can access anything with AI and it can create some stuff for me that I can use, why not use it? This is the funny thing. I found out about AI. I was out of town. I forgot what city I was in. And I was one of the guys that DJ'd the event with me. We was talking. And this was 2023, 23. So I guess AI came out in 2020, I think, that he said. But I didn't know nothing about AI. So I was talking to him about tracks that I was working on. I got this track and this track and this track, and I'm waiting on my guy, you know what I'm saying, to come back in town to finish this and this and this and that. And he brought it to me like, what, man, you can go to this website and you ain't got to wait on a musician or nothing. You can just put your track in and prompt it and it'll add it to wherever you wanted to add. I'm like, what? So he took me into the studio and showed me. And I'm like, what? And this wasn't even Suno. I ain't know nothing about Suno. Everybody seems like everybody is stuck on Suno, but there's so many other great ones out there that I don't even use Suno too much. But I use a lot of the other ones to put my voice and do different things because it's so many. But now I see Suno got a studio too, so they got you can do a lot more stuff with their studio. A lot of these other ones now are doing studios too. But he showed me that. And once he showed me that, man, I went to the crib and started messing around with this thing, man. I'm like, really? You can do this?
250 records sitting on the sideline, you said.
Right. And I can add all kind of stuff to it now. Bro, I don't know if you paid attention, but all the records that I've been releasing is all my old records. They all records I've done before. So I'm like, you know what? I can add so much new to it. Huh? What'd you say?
I said refreshed and made ready for delivery.
Right. So it's like, even with that, I can create a lot of new stuff too, but it's like, wow, it's a lot of stuff that I've been waiting on people to get back to me. I can do it now without waiting on anything. I can do because most of the stuff, like I said, I wrote majority of everything, and it's like now I got access to just put everything I want to put down instantly out, and it comes back. I can adjust it. I can do whatever I want. I can change the tones of it. I can do everything I want to do to it. I ain't never had this much control over me doing music in my career. So it's like it opens up the doors because now I got Louis here with his band. I got all the band members sitting right here, and I can do anything that I want them to do. And unfortunately, I don't have access to a lot of musicians like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no band. I only got a couple of musicians I work with that travels, and they work with bands. They work with, what I'm saying, Lucians and other companies they do different stuff with. So it's like, this makes it perfect now. So I started using.
Wait, brother, let me ask you. So those musicians, what's their position on it? Because they're musicians. How they feel about
Well,
it?
musicians gonna feel a way. Of course, I mean, I understand it, but I mean, what can you do about it? It's just like a vocalist. Like if I want to use this vocalist, but this vocalist ain't around, I end up going using another vocalist. Then I just gotta wait till he finish, get done to get back to him. If anything, like that's how I still work with some of my musicians when they're around. But it's easy now to just add your own music, and you can hum your melodies, what you want, and it comes out exactly the same way. And that's what I do a lot of times. A lot of people think I prompt. I don't be prompting stuff. I add my melodies in there, and once I have my melody, I can hum. I can change that little hum into anything: a guitar riff, a bass line, a hook, a saxophone, a flute, a harp. I mean, it's endless, man.
If you tell somebody, you go do 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 do, you can put that as a flute,
right? But you can take the exact same thing and have a guitar riff. You can that same one little thing you did. You can put it on everything. You can put it as the synth. You can put it as the bass line. You can put it as the chords. You can put everything and make a whole record with just that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's crazy when you think of that. Just like.
And so basically the word is endless.
Right.
Endless what you can do.
And I get the musicians, man, but I don't understand these producers that's mad about it. Like, bro, why y'all mad about something that y'all can take advantage of?
Wait, what's the hate coming in? There's some hate mail. So
bro, it's hate everywhere, bro. I don't get it, though. I don't get it. I'm like,
show us, share the love and tell us the hate. What is the hate you're hearing?
Man, well, I don't hear too much from the individuals. I hear from other people. I hear people say, hey, everybody hating on you, hating on it. I'm like, bro, even when you get success, man, you always gonna have haters. I've been through this before. This ain't my first hit record. This ain't, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm not tripping on it because I've been through it before. But it's like, now it's even crazier now because the internet is what it is. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just extra crazy, man. And I really, to this day, don't understand it. If you got a choice, just like me, I never used a DAW. But I'm not hating on the people that use the DAW. Why would I hate on them? Like, if that's what your preference is, cool. But I don't get the hate, man. I don't understand it.
It's because it's a pushback to the system. Whenever there's a big change, those that are the real, people that nurture it, believe in what it used to be, what it is now, they don't want that change.
But they know, but they end up changing, don't they? They end up getting the dog. They end up doing everything. You know what I'm saying? People, all the musicians and producers that was on the hardware, and when the dog came out, they went to dog. And that ain't nothing but another version of AI, basically.
Well, the conversation goes even further. If
Right.
you take someone's record and loop it up,
right, no clearance, no nothing, no clearance.
That.
But see, that's the thing. But it's the difference though, because a lot of people don't understand how the mastering license is or the mechanical license. Like I said, a lot of them is not business savvy. They don't know how it works in the business, so they just do music and then they just think it's this and think it's that. But it's like, that's why I play everything over. Even if I loop it or I do it, I'm looping over what I played over. I'm not looping the original record. You know what I'm saying? I understand the mechanical side of it, but a lot of people don't. They don't understand it. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, but if you're still doing that, it's not your music. At least with AI, you can create your own music. Like, you can create your stuff. So I don't even understand the hate on that.
Let me clarify that for everybody. So let's say, for example, the Bucketheads, these sounds fall into my mind, right? Chicago was the sample, the Chicago record, the group.
Right.
Street Player is the part that Kenny Dope used. To go and get that to go and be cleared, you have to go to the band, you have to get a sound recording clearance, which is one part, and then you got to get the publishing clearance.
But it's it's different now, right?
But that's totally different now. That was the way
it's totally different now, bro. It's totally different now.
So clarify that, what that is like now.
I mean, you can go on certain websites and get a mechanical clearance. You can go a lot of different places, even though, you can also go through the company and get it. But majority of these companies are signed to majors. So a lot of these majors put pools of these records into these other companies, you know what I'm saying, that they can master with and license and do so many other different things, so they don't have to do it. So now it's a lot of other companies that's got the permission to license this record to you if you want to use it, especially mechanically. I don't know about the master, but mechanically wise, it's like so many companies out there that you can just contact and tell them what you want, which record you're trying to license, what you want to do. You just got to let them know how many records you're trying to sell with it. Then they make a price for you, then you license it. It's easy as hell now. So it's
I know it is. It's a lot easier now because people sold their catalogs off and they got it now to a point. But back in the day, you had to go through hoops and fire. You had to go through hoops of fire.
Right.
Now it's easy.
Right. But it also still comes down to the same thing, though. It depends on if you master license it. Like, if you just take a sample, that's much different than redoing it as a mechanical. You know what I'm saying? It's two big differences. Now, I don't know how it was back then, but now it's two big differences.
So actually covering a record is a lot easier than it was back in the day.
Right. Mechanically, right.
Mechanical side.
Right. It's much easier.
In America, you could still go to Harry Fox and you pay you $25 and you can get that clearance sheet to do a one-to-one cover.
Right. It just depends on how many you want to sell or you want to put. You got to, let them know that, put that in there. And
is that there's no physical, so we got to stream. And that's what I was going to ask you on this one.
Right.
When you say you got a hit record, is a hit record in this dance music scene the same as like when Beyonce has a hit record?
No. No, it's not the same because it's a different crowd. Beyonce record is way much worldwide than our music. So our music is not that worldwide. You have a bunches of different collective in every country that love this or love that. But like Beyonce, that's hip hop and all the mainstream stuff is totally worldwide. Our stuff ain't mainstream unless you know what I'm saying, you get in deep in the business with these certain, companies that.
So like, for example, the David Guetta, the Calvin Harris stuff.
Right.
Actually
the Black Coffees, all of them is like, you know what I'm saying, they work with certain companies now that, you know what I'm saying, help push them to a different thing, even though, they had a majority of them had dope records that did cross over, you know what I'm saying? But now it's like once they cross over, now they got these companies that help push them even further. You know what I'm saying? Now it's the same business as it's always been with the record labels. The same exact business. It's no difference. But it's like you gotta, you know what I'm saying, you gotta go with it and deal with it. And if they
So
doing
how do
that for you and you just make good music, like you even when you connect with these companies and you doing what you're doing, you got the fan base that's behind you, you ain't gotta really make no music. You could make a record here and there every 2-3 years. You know what I'm saying? But it's like you ain't gotta make no record. Because they're gonna have them gigs for you every year. You're gonna go on at least 60 to 80 gigs a year, paying you whatever they're gonna pay you. And the name is they're gonna
you?
push the name anyway. So it's,
I saw, for example, Black Coffee say X. You said 60, 80 gigs. He's at 400,000 euros a gig.
right, right, right. And they
You
paying that. Them young cats are playing that, man. That's what I'm saying. It's a whole different market. And they, you know what's funny? The youngers, you have a lot of young kids that have their fan base, but majority of them they just want to go and party, man. They want to be there where it's happening at. You know what I'm saying? So when they go there, it's funny. I went to the Ultra Fest in Miami, and I asked this raver who he was coming to see, and he was like, "Man, I just love everybody. I just love the music. Like he ain't really have nobody. He just wanted to come because it's the thing. He didn't really have a DJ that he liked, or he just said he wanted to come see him, but he couldn't name one DJ. But he was just there. Him and his girl was just coming to party, all dressed up. You know, it's a thing. You know, and that's how it always been in our industry, though. It's always been that way. Even back when you go back to the older days, you still had that, but people really loved the music then too. Not saying you don't have the younger cats that love the music, but you have some that's just there because it's what's going on, and they paying that money to go there because it's the happening thing right now.
because it's Ultra,
Right,
it's
right.
Coachella,
Coachella, right,
it's those, in Ibiza. Now it's
right.
Universe.
Yeah, space and all that. Yeah, yeah, everything. So that's what it is. But and I love it though. It's nothing to shut down on. It's just a point of, man, you got these people that want to come in and check you out, even if they never heard you. Now they hear you. Now you caught a fan base. Or if it's somebody else that's not there to be a fan base, they just there to party. Cool, but they still paying to come see you.
Yep, totally.
Yeah, man. So it's
And
like,
now I see why you're fighting to do all the genres, because it's like,
yeah,
hey,
you have to.
as long as you get booked, that's all
Yeah,
that matters at the end of
you
the day.
have to, man. You have to. Just imagine, all the charts that I'm on right now and stuff that I'm doing, I'm finna be on the same stage with Sasha and Dickweed and Cara Cox in 2 weeks. Really, I'm not really huge in that scene. I'm just casually making that type of music, but I got booked for it. So it's like you never know. You know what I'm saying? You never know who's listening, who's gonna book you. You never know anything. So
So
I
when you
just do
set
what I like.
when you set yourself up to play with Sasha Digweed, for example, what style of music are you going to be overall using?
Well, but I've done these type of events before, so I normally do tech house, but more Jackin tech house stuff.
Because imagine playing Afro House, they won't get it. The kids.
Well, funny though, like I said, they won't get it. You can switch Sasha out of there and put Black Coffee, and they'll get it. You know
Right.
why?
In a forceful way. Yes, because he's iconic.
Right,
He's
right.
iconic.
Because it's what it is, and he's who he is. You know what I'm saying? People come. That's what I said. Usually, when he's had these events, they always have a lot of different DJs. That's big names. They're either tag teaming or they just doing a simple set. And people come out just to be part of the group, man. Just to be part of having a good time. Because there's always a good time at these parties, man. It ain't nothing but a street rave. That's basically what it is. You know what I'm saying? So they have time, but good time in their life, like they used to back in the day. And then the newer guys, the newer kids that's 21, 18, from 18 to 25 now, a lot of them is new experience for them. So now they getting introduced. And a lot of them is music lovers too. So now you're getting introduced to a lot of these new DJs or old DJs that's playing, and they get a chance to experience that also. You know what I'm saying? And now you gaining fan bases. And they just like me. They don't focus just on one DJ. They focus on a lot of different other DJs too, because they like a little bit of everything. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it just comes down to what you like, man. And if you cater to this fan base, they're going to enjoy you, man.
Are you a one-man show as far as running your labels and your bookings, or you have yourself diversified with other people around you helping you?
No, yeah, it's just me, man. I do everything myself. My wife, she helps here and there. She's a psychotherapist herself. She got her own practice, so she do her own little stuff too. But at the same time, she be helping me out. I joined this agency. My guy, Clear Management. I just joined him about a year ago. You know what I'm saying? But that's it. I don't really have too many other agencies or nothing that I work with. I just do everything myself.
So you're grinding all
Yeah,
day,
yeah.
all night,
Yes, sir.
all day, all night.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'll leave you with this last question. Family, balance, and work. How do we keep that in perspective in your day to day?
Well, fortunately for me, my kids are all grown. My oldest is 30, just turned 36, and my youngest is 29. So it's like I got, of course I got grandkids that I see, and but it's like outside of that, it's just basically me and my wife. You know what I'm saying? And I just go, and she travel everywhere with me. Since she runs her own business also, so she can do a therapy session while we in France on her computer. You know what I'm saying? Because when pandemic happened, it kind of opened up her teletherapy. Now everything was online, and and that kind of helped her in a sense, because now she can travel with me every damn well. But before, she had to go to her office every day to work, and she had an office downtown. So now it's like she can go anywhere with me. You know what I'm saying, and do her work there. Well, no matter where we at, if she got work to do. But yeah, it's just family is always great, man. I love family. I love the fan base. I call the fan base my family too, because they always show up, man. I just did a party there in New York, in Brooklyn, at what was the name of that? What was it? Gotta House, I think it was called.
Yes, Becky Nunez.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And man, bro, I had people from Seattle, Baltimore, Jersey, Atlanta, North Carolina. All them people came to this party, man. They traveled, come to this party. So yeah, I consider them family too, man, because they always show up. They always travel. I be getting people that be traveling no matter where I go. Hey, I'm from so and so. I can't. I'm like, wow. So I mean, you just never know, man, how far the fan base reach.
Yo, wait a second, brother. City to city, we've done it ourselves on those planes, on
Right,
buses,
right,
trains.
right, bro, right. So yeah, it's love, man. So I always consider my fans my family too.
You're an inspiration, brother. You
Hey, I
are an
appreciate it, man.
inspiration.
Appreciate you, big bro.
It's an in-depth interview with one of the men of now. The men of now doing old school with new school.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If you don't know who the hell Stacy Kid is, now you know.
Yeah, check me out, man. DJStacyKid.com, HouseForLifeNation.com, and check out all my social media, man. And check out my tour dates. I'm gonna post all my dates up. I still have some other ones that I'm locking up now for later in the year, but I'm locked down all the way up until December. So I got I got a couple of weekends in between that's free, but I'm gonna post up everything so everybody can see, and you guys come check me out if I'm in your city or in your town. Shout out to my peeps out in Japan, man. They've been hitting me up a lot more, man. Japan people, man. South Africa. I see you guys later on this year too, but it's like, man, yeah, it's been great, man. Been good to see these new fan bases, man, that enjoy the new style that I've been, since my mom passed, man. I've been a little heavy here and there, so I guess if you notice, you can tell in my music, everything is straight praising. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of my soulful stuff is mainly heart wrenching and hitting here. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's coming out the way it's coming. But it's like at the same time, I'm still doing my Jackin stuff. I'm still doing my checkout stuff. I'm still doing a little bit of everything. So if you're a fan of any style that I do, be on the lookout, because I got it all coming.
One more time, Stacy Kid coming to a theater near you.
Yes, sir. House for Life, baby.
House for Life Records, Chicago style.
Yes, sir.
This is another one of those great moments where we had an in-depth conversation of going back in time and taking it to the future.
Man, appreciate you, bro.
We can't thank you enough, Mr. Kid. Tune in each and every week to see your superstar.
Yes, sir.
And I thank you again for tuning in.